customary by the first shovel. But the first shovel different than we normally shovel. Unless you shovel like this normally, then maybe you put it in the right way. But most people don't shovel this way. Put it on the back of the shovel. Put in the first bit. You're only required to put in a little bit if you want. Anybody who wants to keep putting in can put in more, but give everyone an opportunity. Yeah, you put some in. What do you want to put in? Shuffle.
You get in the routine, you get used to it. Yeah.
What? What? Oh yeah, you're. Try to keep it. Don't tell me it. Try to keep it right. Hold on. All right, move back a minute. Maybe another spirit. To the road. The guys are gonna come.
Oh, that's what this truck is. Okay.
You guys still? Are you guys still?
Yeah.
Here. I'm good.
We're all coming back in a minute.
You still have to cover the top.
Yeah.
So, are we able to just push the dirt in after this?
Yeah.
I hate that noise.
You can offset the top a little, just a tiny bit.
Oh, we can't do that.
They always do it. Lonnie always does it. Just
I'll talk to him about that. They,
I don't. The top on top is Lonnie. We have Orthodox block. This hole's got 3 foot of water in it on this around this hole. You might use the seat when you get out anyway. You have to take the flash out.
yeah, I'll turn it around.
Your flash out. You don't want to stop. Huh? Huh? Take this. Huh? Anyway. see what happens when this lid goes down. Yeah. I'll top that one. Yeah. Ready? Yeah. Your level one plus anywhere. Trying to get on top. Trying to get on top. The other stuff is under the water.
Betty. If anybody has anything you want to share,
Floor is open. Anybody have anything you want to share at all from online or out here? No? Anybody online want to share anything?
Why does it just say?
What?
This is Robbie. Did Maish? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So I guess I'll get the ball rolling. You know, when such an awkward way to communicate, but I'm so glad to be here, at least in virtual land. It's good to see everybody's face. I just wanted to pay my respects to Grandma. I'm sure other people may want to share a quick thought as well. And you know, 100 years old is quite an accomplishment. And even though everybody passes at some point, and you know, we can make and celebrate her life, and also make it a realization that, you know, it's she lived a full life, and yet it's still very sad. It's very difficult. There's a lot of young people on the Zoom call here today. I see a lot of little faces and little people, and this is or big people, and this is a very difficult thing for anybody to process, adults, children, and I know Grandma loved you guys so much, and it's so hard to say goodbye. And for the adults on the line, you know, as we get older, we realize that life is full of meaning, and life is beautiful, and life is challenging and difficult. And when I think about Grandma, and I think about her life, I can't help but think about how much she went through, and how much wonderful love and beauty and kindness there was, and how much difficulty and challenge and pain, especially over the last 20, 25 years or so. You know, even as a rabbi, I struggle with the fact that people have to endure such things during our lifetime. And I wanted to just say to Grandma at this time that I know how challenging things have been for you. I want you to know how much of an impression, even though I lived far away and we didn't spend as much time as we could have in person. I was really learned a lot from the way you managed the ups and downs and the crises and the joys of life. Nobody knows why we go through what we go through in this world. I wanted to share a quick story. Is it cold outside, Maish? I don't want to keep everybody out there cold.
No, it's fine.
So one of my favorite stories, and I wanted to share this with the younger people on the Zoom, is that there's a story that was written by actually a minister in the 14th century. And it's a short story. And the short story goes like this, and this is specifically for the younger people who are here today to celebrate Grandma's life. So there was a brother and a sister, and they were fighting. And they weren't getting along, and they shared a room. They actually shared a womb because they were in vitro, and they were twins, and they were in the womb together, and they were living their lives in the womb, and it's all that they knew. And the mother and the sister one day turns to the brother and she says, you know, brother, I was thinking, and I think that there's more than just this womb. I think that there might actually be life after birth. And the brother looks at her and says, life after birth? What are you talking about? How could there possibly be life after birth? Have you ever seen anything after the womb? Have you ever known anybody who left the womb and then came back to tell you about this place that's this life after womb? Have you ever been able to have any communication at all with something beyond the womb? She says, no. And he said, practically speaking, we live by having this umbilical cord, and we have amniotic fluid in our lungs. And if we weren't able to have those things, how could we possibly survive? And she said, well, I do believe it. And she said, you know, I actually believe in something you're going to find even more crazy. And she said, what's that? And she said, I believe in something called the mother. What's the mother? And she said, the mother is that thing which surrounds us. It's that thing that gives us life. And when we have sustenance in this umbilical cord, it's actually coming from the mother. And I also believe that sometimes at night when I'm really, really quiet and I listen really carefully, I can hear her speaking to us and I can hear her singing to us. It's one of my favorite stories, especially for young people who deal with loss, because we don't know anything except what we know today. But just like the idea of conception, of gestation, of pregnancy only makes sense if there's going to be birth. We know that this world is also compared to a womb. And at some point, we go on to the next world as well. We don't know what that means any more than the twins knew what that meant in the womb. And the things we go through in this world, some of them are great beauty. Sometimes they're hard, and sometimes they're challenging. Sometimes they cause us pain. In moments like this, sometimes we want to cry. And yet we know that all of this is preparation and that we're living our lives and is preparing us for life after birth. In certain ways, death is a birth that then takes us forward. I can't tell you what that means, even though I wish I knew. We've all lost so many people that are so close to us. Grandma in our family is the last of that generation for the grandkids and the great-grandkids that are here today. We're so blessed to spend so much time with you. And I will carry with me your strength and your wit and your honesty, oftentimes not asked for, but always appreciated. You in many ways kept our family very together. And I just want you to know that you are a very meaningful influence on my life. I love you very much. Thank you for showing me how to find collateral beauty in even the most damaging and difficult situations, for finding a way to move forward when loss and grief seems like it's paramount and maybe not possible to move forward, and still finding joy in family and in things that we care about in the moments. And if anybody had a moment that they wanted to share, it doesn't have to be anything of great eloquence, just something that we can honor Grandma's memory with. I still have letters that Grandma sent back to me, corrected from when I was in camp and I was a kid, because she was always pushing us to do better, to use proper grammar, and to be able to, and there was even in red pen, but I always saw the love in that red pen. So Grandma, I love you. I celebrate your life today. I'm so sorry I can't be there with you in person, and you are not forgotten. I'm going to go back on mute. Maybe somebody else can just share a brief thought.
You go. What do you do?
I would like to speak. After my bar mitzvah, Grandma Tombosky said to us that the reason that she is still alive was to be there for my bar mitzvah. And it was really beautiful to think about that I was the reason, or just my bar mitzvah was the reason she was still going and still fighting. Really meaningful to me.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything to share online? Okay, well, just continuing on. Anybody over here want to share anything at all? The whole, anyone? No pressure. Sally? No pressure. All right, I'll share something. Sharing from the heart, not from the book now. Grandma, don't cut me off this time. If you do, you're really going to scare the crap out of me. So, warn me. It's something about the common sense that really struck me, because growing up under my father, who, not putting him down or trying to be disparaging in any way, but never really pointed out my common sense. I was the artist of the family. We didn't really have the common sense approach. Every family has to have its approach. But Grandma was the one who, you know, the visits that she did have, Grandpa's visits were different. Grandma's visits were entirely different. She would always tell me that how much that I remind her of how much I remind her of my father. And I said, look, and she's like, hey, you have some of the look. She says, but your way of thinking is very much like his. And that's like totally different because I never heard that growing up. Maybe maturity and time changed a lot the way I think and the way I do things. But Grandma was always there to instill that courage that you needed to do something, or to be there to verbally hold your hand through things, to let you know that you're stronger than you think you are. You can do it. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You know, a real message of being courageous and a message of being confident and not letting other people tell you, you know, how to, you know, I read recently, it said that your image of who I am in your head is not my responsibility. That you are who you are, and take pride in who you are, regardless. If you're an artist and you think differently, then you're not different in some negative way. You're different in a positive way. You make a difference because if you weren't meant to be here, you wouldn't be here. You're here for a reason. So, Grandma, thank you so much for being there for us and helping us through. You know, we haven't seen a lot of you in our younger years, maybe because you're living with our older years, but we definitely are going to miss your wisdom and all the wonderful things you shared with us. And I know that there's a big boy, and we love you. And I want to ask for your forgiveness for anything that I might have done between the time of your passing and now that I could have done better or could have tried harder to make things work differently. But in our current situation, we could work within our abilities we have. So I know that I promised you a lot more in the end that I couldn't fulfill on. And I'm hoping that you accept my apology and forgiveness for what, for different things that maybe could have been done differently. And I hope that you're reunited with everyone, your precious children who left you so early, and now you'll be bounded together with them and Grandpa and all the wonderful people of the history. And hopefully after this, we're putting on a slideshow. We found a lot of pictures and things that I've never seen before, sort of the archives of Grandma's drawers that were really incredible. And hopefully we'll have an opportunity to see it. And we love you. And you know, you gave us 100 wonderful years, and couldn't ask for a second more. You've given us so much. We appreciate it.
I think I'm gonna say something.
Okay.
Some of the most beautiful people that I'm blessed to be with them too. Bobby, you know, you had so many struggles that could have torn a person apart where they never come out again. And you know what? Cayeno would have been enough. We would have understood. We would have really understood. But you know, you got up and you showed us. anyone I spoke to would say an imperial house. Is that your relative that goes downstairs and cooking every day? Still goes and exercises? Yep, that's grandma. You allowed us to have a lot of pride. We all felt very blessed to be your granddaughter, your great grandkids, being the matriarch for creating the most wonderful father-in-law. Mom and Dad created the most beautiful two children. Thank you. Allows me to have some gorgeous kids too. I also ask for your forgiveness if I ever disappointed you.
Thank you. Anything else, anyone? All right, well, we'll conclude today, and not sure when the unveiling will be at some point in time in the near future. There's no real time frame. I'm hoping that as soon as the Mignonans, the quorum of 10 men, how to be together as a similar, then we're going to be able to do the proper practice for grandma for 11 months, and hopefully I'll take that on, maybe with even Robbie's help. Haven't asked him yet, but maybe he'll help me with the same practice for grandma. There's no living children to say it, but it's still special to say if you can. And hopefully in the next 11 months, sometime within that time frame, we have the unveiling, so we'll have a little more of a, maybe some type of, hopefully will be over and we can sit down and have a face-to-face, uncovered, without masks on, and be able to spend some time together and talk about grandma. So on that note, thank you. Everyone to come and thank you everyone who was on here. Half of this was recorded, only till I realized it wasn't recording, but all the speeches are recorded. The digging is not. Some of my beginning comments aren't, but if you stay on, there is a special slideshow on here that I put together. So if you wait 1 second, let me put that on for you. And then you guys have an opportunity to see it.
Maybe it's cute. 2 years.
Hey, 1 second, guys. Hold on a second. It's not coming up. It's not coming up. Oh. Hello, everyone. And it's all set up. Can you hold this for me, please? Hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on 1 second. Come back.
Okay. I don't understand.
Okay, can I?
Why are you keeping that?
Huh? No, I was stuffing my gloves. Do we have a garbage bag of any kind? Are we leaving?
Touchy's trying to pull up a film.
Thank you.
Are you leaving now?
Touchy's trying to put a film on.
Hi, Bubby. With everyone else.
How are you?
Good.
It's a beautiful day.
Is that it, hon? You got it? Okay. Mush is just working on trying to connect everyone to the film that he put together about Grandma and some of the pictures he found.
Is math art? You should mute it.
Oh, you need to mute yours, otherwise you're gonna get that feedback.
I'm gonna let it run for about another 5 minutes if you want to watch it again. So if anybody wants, at around 2 o'clock, when I go back online on the same one, and everybody can feel free to go on and share any thoughts they want that are just online. It won't be a recorded session unless you want it to be. But give a chance for us to all kind of talk where it's not at a cemetery. And we can kind of share our feelings. So about 2 o'clock p.m., that's 11 o'clock California time. And hopefully we'll have a chance to chit chat a little before. Okay?
Gotta mute.
Love you all. We'll see you guys later. Thank you for being part of it.
Wait, whose hand is that?
That's Chava's hand.
Is that Chava's hands?
That's Yehuda's.
Everybody, love you.
Whose hand was that?
Chava's hand.
Oh, hi, Chava.
It's Chava.
That hand looks really. Oh, what? What?
Chava.
So that's how you feel. Okay.
It's still recording. We have that in the archives of Tombosky's. All right, see you guys later, okay? About 2 p.m.